Hello, everybody. Reggie Time here, and in just a moment, I'm going to be talking with my new friend Lee, who's kindly volunteered to do some hand reviews with me. We've already done the session. This is like after the session. The hands are really interesting. Hopefully, the discussion's really interesting too for you guys. I hope you enjoy it. I am on the lookout for more people to do this kind of thing with. So if you'd like to have some of your hands reviewed with me, maybe you're a better player than me, maybe you're a worse player than me, maybe you're a similar level. Who knows? Who cares? If you'd like to do the same as what you're about to watch with Lee with me, please do get in touch via email, reply in YouTube, contact me on Facebook, whatever. Because I am on the lookout for people to do this kind of work with. I'm not that into doing live play videos anymore. I get kind of bored doing them, but I'm very into just I'm always down for discussing hands with people. Having some interesting conversations that are good for both myself and the person I'm doing it with, but then also make reasonable content for YouTube. Please don't forget to hit like on this. If you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. Hit the little notification bell so you get notified when my videos go live. I am trying to grow the channel a little bit. I don't monetize it. I never have. I never will. I just like doing it. So yeah, please do hit the like, leave a comment, subscribe, all of those things, and I'd be most grateful. Now let's get into the session with Lee, and I'm pretty sure you guys are going to enjoy it. Right, there we go, mate. We are in. I'm already looking at this table and thinking, this is shit, isn't it? The biggest VPIP's 23. What's that all about?
Yeah, exactly. This is typical for the 25 Zoom pool, I think. But yeah, let's see how we get on. So we've got pocket nines on the button. Here's an open from a very tight player. And falls to us. We go for the 3-bet this time. I think, I play pretty much pure 3-bet fold in all positions. I think there is room for flatting, especially versus a player like this, because I think he's just going to fold everything that's kind of worse and just continue. I mean, we only have 100 hands on him, to be fair, so maybe we're doing him a bit of a discredit. But anyway, we go for the 3-bet, and he calls. We see 6, 10, 8 two-tone, and he checks to us. So I think for the most part, versus a 3-bet call range, this isn't a particularly good board for us. I think with our specific hand, it's okay. I think my preference would be to go for a bet here. There's a reasonable amount of bad turn cards, so we want to deny some equity to kind of overcards. Obviously, it's always going to continue with any sort of reasonable draw here. But yeah, I think my preference would be to go for a relatively small bet on this board in this formation.
What do I think? I've had spots like this challenging against these nips, because you're right. We do want to think about some denial against the ace queens of the world. I mean, I think these players, they don't. I think assuming those stats are accurate, and this is the type of player he is. There's a lot of stuff in here that we just do well denying against. Like he's probably not 4-betting ace king, for example. But at the same token, he's probably not 4-betting jacks and fucking queens either. So I'm not sure how much benefit there is to betting here. I think I don't think he necessarily has all the sets, because he's maybe not. But if he's the true 15-11, he's probably not opening sixes. Then he will have 8s at full frequency, 10s at full frequency. I think he'll have jacks and queens probably that don't 4-bet. I think it's if we're just betting for denial against like ace king, ace queen suited, things like that, I'm not sure there's enough in that to make it really worthwhile. And I think we can probably check back, call most turns, and then reassess river. I just don't think I like betting here against this player type. I don't think we benefit enough from denial against him, because I think a lot of his range is going to have us beat in this spot. That plays too passively pre-flop. If he's like a fishier guy and he's going to be in here with a jack queen suited, ace jack suited, all the suited broadways that have missed. So if he's got, say, king queen of diamonds here, or say king jack of diamonds, ace whatever, ace, jack of diamonds, all things like that, yeah, then fine. But does this guy have them hands? I don't know. Probably has a suited broadways, but I don't know. I don't know how much we benefit from denial. And if we use like a standard size of, say, 1/3, even maybe slightly bigger, even though we wouldn't want to go bigger with this hand. But on this type of board, I guess we don't see bet as frequently, so we get to use a bigger sizing. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think I like it as much against this
I don't know
player.
what I do here, by the way. But,
and some players I
let's
would
see.
like it against, but I think this player, I think his range it's already narrow pre. We've filtered that further by 3-betting. So I'm not sure how much you benefit from like denial here versus the amount of times we're just going to warn ourselves when he's got pocket jacks, pocket queens, which I expect this type will have at a very high frequency still.
Yeah, okay. I do go for the 1/3 size. Any calls? We see a bit of a weird turn. 7 of clubs. Definitely a turn I think he could do some leading on. I don't imagine that he does. But when check 2, which, yeah, he does do that. Yeah, it is a bit weird now because obviously, yeah, we've, like you say, we've filtered his range down further. And I think when he just flat calls, well, I don't know, what kind of range do you think that he check raises with on the flop? I think it's going to be stuff that's very equity driven, right? So the flush draws in particular, and the better straight draws, which we obviously block some of that, but
I think he doesn't have a flush very often at all here because of what we've already said about him pre. I think he maybe has like king queen suited and then like maybe ace jack, ace queen suited. So I think he maybe only has 3 or 4 flushes maximum here. If our pre-flop assumptions are true, if they're not, then we're fucked.
Yeah,
we're in back.
Well, how do you think he plays those on the flop though? Do you think this player profile is likely to play those flush draws as a check raise on this board? If he has some understanding that I shouldn't be betting this board very often, then maybe he doesn't. Maybe he just calls with them.
I think I wouldn't spend too much energy focusing on on what I believe would be a small part of his range. My thoughts here would be more, right, let's hope this fucker's got jacks or queens or a set, and like we just put lots of money in. If he's got a flush and you know in this line, then good for him. You know, we've got a straight against somebody who, in my opinion, on the flop, I'm ranging them as having, like, when they just check call, a lot of jack, queen. Maybe they've got like some ace X offsuit with the ace of clubs still that's going to keep putting money in. And so I'm just going to be thinking of all that part of their range. If we're cool at here, if he's got a flush when we've turned a straight, he's probably just going to get all of my stack at this point. And I'm not going to worry too much about that. I'm just going to focus on like try to maximize any money I can make from pocket jacks with the club, pocket queens with the club, ace king, ace queen off with the club, all those types of things. And if this is the time he's just got a flush, or maybe he's got a set on the flop and he hasn't raised. You know, I think there's loads of hands he can have that's worse than a straight here that's going to want to still put money in. And then the times he's got a flush, then good for him. He just gets to win the lot.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. I think in terms of my range and in terms of what I'm doing here, this probably isn't a card that I do want to continue on that often as a barrel, because I think obviously my flop betting range is I don't know, it will contain some overpairs, some flush draws, I suppose. It shouldn't really contain that much in the way of 9x, apart from probably specifically pocket nines. But I think given that we do have that, we definitely, as you say, kind of want to carry on betting. And what is there, 26 in the middle at the minute? The effective stack now is 90 behind. So, yeah, we probably do want to start maybe looking to play for stack. So probably something in the region of 3/4 pot.
What would I do here? Because for our range, it's a pretty terrible card. Normally, with our range in this spot that c-bet this flop, we're going to fucking hate this turn. So what I like to do in those spots where it's a turn that I'm not supposed to enjoy, I like to go really quite big when I do enjoy it, because lots of people are like, this is bullshit. He should, like, if he's thinking like a lot of the regs thinking, like when you watch a lot of people play when on YouTube or on Twitch or what have you, when they see someone doing something unusual on a card that shouldn't favour them, their default logic tends to be, this looks like bullshit, and then they put all the money in and they get coolered because the guy's got the one part of the fucking range that they refuse to accept they can fucking have. And this guy might be like that. He might just be like sat with pocket queens, expecting this to go check a lot, and when he doesn't, just think, nah, this is bullshit, and then just not fucking fold anyway. And I'm not worried about like what they're folding here. I'm just worried about building a pot. So I agree with you. I'd probably go a size that allows me to shove the river. If I had the 2E buttons, which I only have on 888 and I still don't know how to use them, I'd be using like a 2E size here. So when I've got to do the maths in my head, if I put 20 bigs in here, that's going to leave us with the effective stack of 67, and there's going to be 66 in the pot, which that's why I'd probably go a little bit more than 20. So I got like 21, 22, and then we're going to be shoving the river for like a similar percentage of pot. And if he falls,
see what we do.
Good for him. He just
we check back. No, why do we check back? I probably check back for the reasons that you just described there earlier, in terms of, this is just a card that we just so rarely ever bet that, I guess maybe my thought process at the time was, against a tight player, he's probably not going to be wanting to put that to the test, I suppose. A turn bet, he just.
At the time, were you thinking he could maybe? And I don't expect you to remember this time specifically, but generally here, would the presence of Jacks and Queens in his range like be playing on your mind much or not?
I guess it would, because they're going to call a bet on a reasonable amount of river cards, I suppose. When this turn goes check.
But they're going to call the turn as well, aren't they? That's what I'm trying to get at.
But I guess that are they playing for? Yeah, I suppose we can just check back river.
Got like Jacks or Queens
versus Queens and Jacks. Are we ever getting another 2 streets of value out of them here? Or are they going to want to play for stacks on this board? I don't know.
Maybe not, but if you've got Queens or Jacks with the club, they're probably not folding the turn for nearly full pot.
Yeah, they're certainly not. No, you're absolutely right. I think they're not folding. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one, I suppose. I can't remember the specific hand, but in this spot generally, I think I probably just default to saying this is just a card that I'm never going to bet here. So checking back, obviously we haven't got the nuts here, but I guess checking back on this turn and then going for some value on the river is just going to look more bluffy, given my kind of range. And I don't think, I think it's kind of hard maybe to get another 2 bets in versus a lot of hands here.
You're probably right. It probably is, but it shouldn't stop us trying, should it?
Yeah. All right. Well, we do go for it, and we see a pretty safe river, the King of Spades, and he checks to us. So obviously we have a value bet here. Those hands that you mentioned, Jacks and Queens, are now kind of demoted in terms of their rank on this board. I guess he is still going to have some hands like Ace King off, King Queen, maybe with the King of Clubs. But yeah, obviously we have to bet here. And in terms of size, I think somewhere in the region of pot feels fair. I think you're right. If we do bet the turn and we see this river, we can very easily just put the rest of it in, and now we have, I guess, more of a decision in terms of our bet size and what we're looking to get value from. I guess when the turn goes check, he does retain a lot of his King X, King Queen, King Jack, all with the a king or a X of clubs. So yeah, there's plenty of stuff I think we can get value from on this river. So I think looking at the hand now, I'd probably just want to pot this, and I guess there should be some consideration to what we do if we go for a big bet on the river and he jams. Don't think we can ever fold, but
I think here, my initial thought was overbet because now we're at the river. There's no more action after this. So I think we're going to get, if we overbet the turn, I think we get a lot of folds, not because they think they beat all the time, but because of they're looking into the future and they're thinking, shit, turnover bet, I could be playing for my entire stack on the river. So I think the fold, maybe overfold turns a little bit. Whereas on the river, our line will look a little bit bullshitty and people just get curious. They're human beings, they're not fucking machines. So part of me thinks overbet, but then I'm thinking, well, do we need to overbet this hand specifically? But I think anything from like 75% pot to an overbet is in order here. And as to your question of like, do we continue versus raise? I think if we overbet any raises, then probably not, even though his rep is such a fucking narrow range. And I think his flushes just lead the river quite often. But if I bet 75% and got raised, then I think I will probably fucking call. But I don't think I'm folding regardless, because like so often, like flush, sometimes he's going to like check raise or flop with his nut flush draws. Then he's already missed that opportunity with a flush draw, and then he hasn't led the river. So I think he has very, very few flushes, very, very few indeed. And I think we just have the nuts against anything but a flush. Because he never has jack, literally never has jack nine. But if his stats pre-flop are true, I just like big bets. Anything 75%, so I'd go like whatever that would be. Anything like 21 bigs through to 35. Anything in that region, I think is where I prefer the bigger end of that scale. Just try and win more money on the times he does call.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. I don't know what I do here, but let's have a look. Yeah, we go for 24. And he goes for the jam. Okay.
So if he's any good here, well, I don't know if he's any good or not. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm just not folding. I think he's got so few flushes. So few flushes. That's assuming that, and this is where sample size comes into it. If that 15-11 is accurate, he's open pre, he's called a 3-bet, he hasn't check raised a flop, and he hasn't led the river. That, excuse me, to me, that filters a lot of flushes from his range. And then this might just be some fucking nit spew. He might just have the ace of clubs and be deciding, fuck you, pal. You can't have the nuts. Yeah. I'm jamming my ace of clubs. I can't fold this. I haven't got it in me.
Yeah. No, I don't think I have either. I'm really hoping I don't. I can't remember what I do here, but okay, we call it off. And we beat Jack 10 suited.
That is quite it's quite the nit spew, isn't it?
Yeah.
I like that level of nit. I like that level of nit spew we've just seen from that man, and that's why we can't fold these things. I mean, who knows what he's doing? I mean, maybe we bet the turn. I think he probably folds that hand, but who knows? But that is fun.
Yeah.
That is, yeah. You could have given me a lot of guesses of that hand, and it would have taken me many, many guesses to finally fall on the 10 Jack of Spades.
Yeah, me too. I couldn't remember what he had in this spot, and I would not have guessed that actually. Okay, well, that's a nice
You'd
one.
imagine most of his bluffs should like revolve around the ace of clubs, shouldn't they?
Yeah, you would have thought so. Yeah,
I can't imagine, because the king of clubs is just going to call, so his bluffs should basically feature exclusively or closer exclusively with the ace of clubs. We just got to show.
Yeah, I guess the jack of clubs is a reasonable card because it blocks obviously some of the nut straights and obviously some flushes as well.
Yeah, but it's how does it have the jack of clubs?
You
need to have ace jack off suit, which I doubt this guy has.
Yeah.
Well, it's a fun hand.
Well, no, in terms of him having the jack of clubs. blocking it from my point of view. But yeah, fun hand.
No, but my point was is like how does he reach river with jack of clubs? That isn't a flush. That was my point.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Anyway, it's interesting to me. What's that 261k in black all about?
Oh, that is that's you can ignore that. That's total hands. And when I'm on the table, obviously it filters it for the session, so it just lets me know how many hands I've played that session.
Right, okay, no problem. Because it probably would have there were some people watching thinking, "What the fuck's that?" So I had to address that because it was triggering me.
Yeah, sorry.
What are you? What are you doing there? I don't understand.
Yeah. No,
right.
just total hands for the session. Cool. Okay, should we go on to the next one?
Yep.
Okay, we have ace-5 suited in the big blind, and the action is it folds to the button. Button looks like a reg. We have 250 hands on him, and he opens for 2.5 bigs, and we go for the 3-bet. So I think that's pretty standard in this spot. I think ace-5 suited, we're always 3-betting big blind versus button. Size-wise, yeah, this is pretty much my normal size. I usually go around 11 versus a 2.5 open. I think because this is 25 of an L, the sizes are just slightly off.
Yeah. I think the size is off here on theory. I think we need to go. I think standard is 13 here.
Okay.
I think.
So yeah, I think you're right. When I looked at it as well, I go 10 big blinds from the small blind and 11 from the big blind. It can definitely go bigger from both. Can go 11 and 13, I suppose.
I think when I look at, and I don't look at Storm as much, but I think like versus button 2.5x, I'm pretty sure it's like 11 from the small and 13 from the big, which seems a bit excessive from the big for me. And what do we need to do it? I don't know, because like the thing I have about like using solver ranges and solver sizes in these games is that button likely, I mean, this guy maybe is, but in a lot of certainly in the games I play, people just aren't opening correct frequencies. But I think the button's meant to open like 42%, and most players aren't hitting that. They're getting in the 30s, high 30s or whatever, but they're not quite hitting it. So how do we adjust with our 3-bet range then? And these are the things that I'm not certain of. Feels like we want to probably 3-bet a little bit less. If someone's not quite opening the correct frequencies by under raising, then we probably want to respond by 3-betting less hands. But in size terms, do we stick to the same size? So do we like maybe do we slightly reduce our 3-bet frequency but still use the same size? And I don't know. But I think I would probably reduce frequency and still use the same size. So, but this is mandatory. Ace-5 suited is like a mandatory 3-bet from big blind anyway. So that's kind of irrelevant. But yeah, I think
my sizing scheme kind of. Yeah. No, I think my sizing scheme is probably based on the fact that from the limited amount I've kind of looked at solvers as well. I gather that the 3-bet from the big blind is more polarized than it is from the small blind, because we have a lot more calls here because we're closing the action. And when we have more polarization in our range, we want to go bigger. I guess I know I'm not using that correctly polarized 3-bet range out of the big blind, because if I remember correctly, I think it 3-bets hands like, I could be wrong here, but I think it 3-bets hands like 10 deuce suited and stuff like that, and I'm never 3-betting that.
I suspect that most regs at lower stakes are just using a linear 3-bet strategy from the big blind, I imagine.
Yeah.
Especially when they're going to be out of position. Maybe it's not linear when they're 3-betting versus small blind, but I think when they're going to be when they know they're going to be out of position, I suspect most regs are just 3-betting linearly. And if they are, then I guess it makes sense to go a little bit smaller. So yeah, I totally I am on board with what you're saying. If we are using like a proper polarized 3-betting strategy, big blind, big button, we probably want to go bigger. But if we are kind of just we're playing like humans and we're more linear with our 3-bet range from the big blind, then I guess going smaller doesn't matter as much.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm on
Yeah.
board. I'm
Okay.
on board. It's a deviation that I understand, and I think I like, to be honest with you, because it's really tough to find all those 3-bet bluffs. And it's
Yeah, it
and
is.
do you want to be finding them? If we're meant to work your opening 42% from button, and say this villain, who knows? But say like your average villain's only opening 33%, so their range is like 25% smaller than it should be. Do we still want to be 3-betting them with a polarized range? Probably not as much, I wouldn't imagine.
Yeah, I guess probably not. Yeah, and then there's also the issue of playing those hands post flop when you do go post flop, and it's just probably not something I'm comfortable enough doing. So
well, that's why it's not a good idea to do it when as humans, because I don't know about you, but I don't think the majority of the 25NL Zoom population have a fucking clue how to play 10-5 suited out of position in a 3-bet pot when they're the 3-better. They don't know how to fucking do it, which is probably why people don't do it, because I'm like, I'm just not doing that. I'm just not doing it, because any EV I capture pre-flop is just going to get lost and more post-flop. Because it's over to do it, because it already knows how it's going to play every fucking board texture right down the streets. We don't. We haven't got a fucking clue. So, like, the small amount of EV we capture pre is very, very easily lost by going post flop with a massive, massive disadvantage in terms of, like, our hand versus their range, and then just butchering it so often. So, yeah, I think I like just fucking off the let's be polar big blind versus button. I like fucking that off and just going linear. And if we are going to just have a linear strategy still, then I actually like your idea of going a little bit smaller, because when we are linear, they're going to defend quite wide in position, and then we're just going to do really well. You'd imagine range versus range. So yeah, I like it. You've convinced me.
Yeah, cool. All right, let's see how we get on with the rest of the hand then. So he does go with the call, and we see a Queen 10 ace board, two-tone. Obviously a board that's really good for us in terms of range versus range. This is probably a hand that I would consider checking back on this board. I guess my weaker top pair type hands I used to pad out the flop check range. In a 3-bet pot, big blind versus button, I think maybe we can just continue with everything on this board, including this particular hand. I don't have any huge preference either way. I can't remember what I do here, but I think my default here would be, I don't know if I have a default on this exact board texture in this formation, but I like checking back top pairs, the weaker top pairs, and playing turns and rivers accordingly.
How often are you using your HUD in this situation?
Not very often at this particular part of the game, so on the flop, because I guess I don't have. So I've got his c-bet frequency, and obviously if I click into it, I've got a bit more information in terms of how he plays the flop. But yeah, not very much really.
Yeah, the key is
the majority of my HUD.
Sorry, mate, go on.
I was just going to say the majority of the use of my HUD is just generally on these three stats: so VPIP, beer par, 3-bet, and fold to 3-bet and 4-bet, and that just gives me a general category of the player, rather than being too specific in terms of how they play flops. But go on.
Well, we haven't got enough hands on this guy, but I think I would be looking at stuff like if we had more hands, I'd be clicking the pop up, I'd be going to the flop.
Mm-hmm.
And could you just drag that across a little bit, because some of it's just outside where we're capturing. Like left
Can I
click
let you move this?
I would like click the flop part of the thing, and like it's got the 3-bet pot to the bottom half, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I'd be looking at what it's like. And again, we've got no sample size. It's got a fold to c-bet, 1 out of 1, but when we've got a bigger sample against against people, I'd be using that a lot here to decide whether I want to c-bet this hand or not. And I also like looking at that float bet strategy, which on the top section, but again, it's not from fucking 1, so it's irrelevant. So if you're looking at the top, for people who are looking at it, I know you'll know where it's at, but in the top section, 4 down, it says float. That's their basically bet versus miss c-bet in position stat, isn't it? So I've been looking at those, and they would be deciding whether I want to see bet or not. As it happens, they're both completely fucking useless to us in this situation because we've got precisely one example of each. I think I would probably just check this, I think. And I'm not looking to play a big pot.
Yes.
I think right when he's going to have like a lot of 10x that isn't going to fall to a small bet, like queen x that isn't going to fall to a small bet, and then we're going to have to check a lot of turns. If he's any good, he might then start attacking us, attacking our range. I think also they're probably going to overfold a lot of stuff on this flop when they've got, I don't know, all the stuff like pocket pairs without a diamond that are beneath the 10.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel like it's a spot I want to see back. Because we're going to have some checks in this spot, and we're going to want to have some top pairs in. So to me, our weakest top pairs make by far our best check calls, or some of our best check calls here.
Yeah, that's generally my
who might be like a little bit too aggressive versus check here.
Yeah. We actually don't go for the check here in this particular example. We go for the small bet, and he calls. Yeah, I mean, it obviously can't be too bad to just pretty much bet range on this board. But yeah, I think given the discussion we had, and yeah, I think my preference would be to check this exact combo if we are going to check.
I'm rooting hard for a club on the turn. We didn't get one.
Yeah, so was I. We've already been let down. No, we see the 8 of hearts. Yeah, and now I think it's getting probably really quite thin to continue barreling on this turn. So hopefully we check, which we do, and we face quite a big bet. Yeah, very uncomfortable situation. I think there's obviously quite a lot that he can start to turn into a bluff when I check this turn after betting flop. Anything like king, queen with a diamond, stuff like that wants to really just attack my range when I check this turn. I'm very uncomfortable in this spot.
Sorry, buddy, 1 sec. Can I just pause a sec? My mum's ringing me. It's the second time she's rang.
Of course you can.
Won't be a sec, fella.
Go ahead.
Cheers, fella. As I expected, it was something trivial, but never mind.
No worries.
I mean, there was a sense of urgency with the 2 calls in 5 minutes. Then it wasn't an urgent thing. Imagine if I was asleep there, she'd fucking done that to me and woke me up. I'd be fucking raging. Right, yeah, back to this hand.
Back to this hand, yeah. Not. It feels bad to place a bet on the turn, especially this size. I guess the question that I would be asking myself here is, can we just fold now? It feels a bit too tight with top pair here, especially on this particular turn. But there are a whole host of like really terrible river cards where we could just never, we're just going to have to check fold.
Yeah, I think he's got like so many strikes. I mean, he doesn't necessarily have to fall bet ace queen pre, especially if he thinks we're playing like a polarized strategy. I think ace queen probably just flats a lot here. Ace 10 the same. Pocket 10s, king jack, ace 8, queen 10 suited. I mean, he's just got so much fucking value here. And even his bluffs, I'm not even thinking about it, just folding. It's just so easy. It's just so easy for him to have like a lot of good hands here. I mean, even pocket 8 continues. I imagine pocket 8 with a diamond continues on the flop versus our size.
Yeah, versus the small size. Yeah.
Apart from like pocket queen to pocket aces, he has every fucking value hand in the deck here.
Yeah. So I'm really hoping we do fold. Which we do. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Cool. Okay. Well, that cuts that one short. I think that was. I think it's pretty fine. I think the main thing obviously is the flop decision here. We can definitely consider just checking this one. And playing accordingly. I think when we do bet and we can't continue barreling on this turn card really.
No.
And we face a big bet.
All these made hands we're drawing dead against, and if he does have any draws, he's still very fucking live, and he gets to bluff them on the river like with a rude frequency, and we can do fucking nothing about it. There isn't a single river. We river an ace there, and he goes all in. Oh fuck! We river a 5, he goes all in. Oh fuck! I mean, what do we want to see? We're calling that bet, and we're hoping he goes check on the river, and we probably don't win that often in a fucking check line either. Yeah, I think we just have to fold the turn there. Just be pragmatic. Fine, this is a spot where Villain just gets to win nearly all the time. Move along, go on with your day.
Move along, yeah. Which we will do then. Let's go to the next hand. So we have pocket 8s in the cutoff. It folds to MP. Again, another reg, which I'm guessing most of these hands will be against in this 25 zoo pool. He opens for 2 big blinds. I think I mentioned earlier that I don't really play too many calls. I think this is actually a hand that we can call, especially against the min open. I don't know what I do. I've got a feeling maybe I do call. I've got a vague recollection of this hand, I think. Yeah.
In the olden days, you could call here and not give a fuck.
Yeah.
But now we're, in theory, not allowed to. I don't know. I go lots of ways with this. I fucking hate 3-betting. It seems really counterintuitive to me. I don't like it. I get that we like strategy theory has us playing 3-bet or fold cutoff versus middle position. I totally get that, and I get how this falls into a 3-betting range. It just doesn't feel. It feels like something that a robot, AI, computer, whatever, is going to be very good at, and humans are just not going to deal with very well whatsoever. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, this 25NL Zoom pool, I've been playing some like 25NL on 888, and it looks way, way fucking softer than this pool does. Everyone seems to have like decent fucking ready stats in this pool, like 23, 20, 24, 20, 23, 18. Whereas when I've been playing on 888, you've seen most of them are absolute fucking massive nits. I mean, like massive nits, like your fucking 15, 11, like enormous fucking nits. And I think like their like squeezing percentage pre-flop is going to be like way down, and it's just going to be very good hands. Whereas this pool looks like he's playing against a bunch of people who just are better studied. So I'd be comfortable flatting this on 888. I wouldn't be comfortable flatting this in what's based on what I've seen from 2 hands from you and the HUD stats that I've seen. I'd be way less comfortable flatting this, because I think like the chances of it getting squeezed in this pool seem significantly higher than they do in the speed poker pools I play, which is party poker, which again seems pretty nitty, and 888, which is definitely nitty because I've got stats to back that up. I wouldn't be that comfortable in this pool, so I think 3-bet or fold in this pool is probably better, and I probably do this, and I probably do it because I know we're supposed to. But am I going to play the spot well? Am I fuck? It's nasty. It's already nasty.
I guess. Yeah, it is a little bit, but I guess I suppose. I agreed. Like, we're in this pool. We are going to get squeezed more often than we would prefer. So I think mostly I prefer to 3-bet here. I guess pocket 8 should be relatively straightforward to play. Like we probably c-bet a reasonable amount of flops and then give up on turns and rivers if we face any resistance and we kind of brick out. Try and get the showdown a little bit, but
I'm just going to check this and my little GTO with it. I don't know how. I don't think 3-bets. I don't think 8s will be a full frequency 3-bet here.
Okay, yeah, that would be interesting to know. I don't know that.
So I've got it open now, and Hijack's opened, so we're in the cutoff. Yeah, 8s is 3-betting 36% only, and not folding the rest.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't think this is. I wouldn't do it. I would prefer to just fold. I mean, I would do it sometimes, but I'm doing it because I know I have to do it sometimes, rather than because I want to, and it's a spot I'm going to enjoy. I mean, you've done it now, so let's see what happens to us.
Let's see what happens.
I don't like it, and I don't think many humans like doing it because it's just fucking hard. It's really hard.
Yeah, agreed. It does fall back round to Hijack. and he four bets, which feels bad. Given I've got this hand in here, I don't imagine this is the end of it. So I imagine we do peel, and I think that's probably okay. Especially, I don't know. I suppose the question would be and I think, if I'm being totally honest, I'm not pure three betting this hand in this formation. So I don't use an RNG as such. I do it kind of maybe based on villain, and obviously this guy isn't exactly tight pre-flop. His VPIP's 24, his PFR's 20, so it's not overly tight, especially in this pool. So he definitely will have some folds in this spot when we three bet him. Once he does go for the four bet, if we're not three betting eights pure, then I think we're, again, from my limited understanding of how solvers navigate these spots, if there is a hand that it doesn't open or three bet at full frequency, it usually does continue with it. And I think in position here, it can't be the worst thing in the world to peel.
No, I wouldn't.
But I think we can definitely make an argument.
This could be me misunderstanding what solvers do, like you. If we're both wrong here, we both misunderstand it. My understanding is, like you said, anything that's like a low frequency open or a low frequency three bet, solvers tend not to fucking fold that. So yeah, I think if I do three bet this hand, I'm then, especially versus this size, I'm just not folding it. So I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, and given I've got this hand in here, I imagine we do peel, so we do. 4, 10, 6, two-tone. He goes for the 25% C-bet. Don't imagine that we're going to be folding here. Obviously, we are losing to some hands, but versus this size and versus all of the kind of ace-king, ace-queen parts of his range that might have stuck the four bet in here, plus any four bet bluffs that he's got. We're probably not doing too badly against, but it's not. I mean, it doesn't feel great, but I don't imagine we can fold to this size.
No, not on this board. Like you say, it's just going to have his full quarter of like ace kings, whatever ace X is using to bluff with. Pre-flop, there's just no folding. It's bet quarter pot. We've got a pair in a backdoor flush draw, backdoor straight draw. Turn, please, dealer.
Yeah. Turn. We see the two of hearts, which feels okay. Especially when he goes ahead and checks to us. Guess there's no real merit in betting this turn here. In this spot as played. Obviously, we can deny some equity to his ace king off that just auto C bets, and we'll probably give up now, especially if it hasn't got a heart in it. But yeah, I think my default would be to just check back here. What do you think?
I think it's in my world, it's a mandatory check back. We're just like a middle straight hand. We don't. We just don't want to bet in these hands. We can't just zero in on. I want to deny equity to his ace king, etc. I mean, if he's got ace king here, then he's what, you got 12.5%. If he's got ace king with a heart, we don't deny any equity to it anyway because it's never fucking folding. Even though I think that will barrel at a decent fucking frequency. I think it's a huge mistake to bet here. Huge mistake.
Let's hope I check back.
A pretty big error. When we bet this turn, we're kind of like polarizing in a spot where we just don't need that with this hand. So I think it's an absolute slam dunk check back.
And thankfully we do find the check back, so we go to the river, and it's a pretty nice looking 7 of clubs. Not loving facing a bet on this river, but I think as it's played out, we probably can't find much in the way of folding here. He does go ahead and put us to the test. I guess when we check back the 10, kind of our overpairs are very much limited. So we are very much going to have a range that looks exactly as we are here. We're going to have some overcards with some hearts in it. And yeah, I imagine a little bit similar maybe to the first hand that we saw. Yeah, he can just go for it here with the ace of hearts,
Yeah,
X.
I was going to say, I think we know one of his cards here.
Yeah.
We definitely know one of it. Well, we'd expect to know one of his cards, and that's going to be the ace of hearts. So he's got way more ace of hearts offsuit in his range than he has ace of hearts suited.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just call. I'm not happy about it.
Yeah,
but I mean,
not happy.
He has he can have like aces with the heart, kings with the heart that can happily do this for value too. But he's just gonna have way more like single ace of hearts than he is like flushes here. And if he's capable of pulling this trigger for this size with aces with the heart or kings with the heart, then more power to him. Good bet, sir.
Yeah,
because I think he probably should. If I had aces with the heart here, I would like to think I'd find this play quite often in his shoes. And I'd like to think I'd find this play quite often if I had ace king off with the ace of hearts. So yeah, I think we just have to call it because I think we know one of his cards, and he's got more offsuit hands in his range pre than he has suited hands that contain the ace of hearts. So yeah, I'm just calling.
Yeah, agreed. And as this shows here, we only need to win this 36% of the time for it to be an okay call, and I think we just do versus that range. So yeah, we do make the call, and okay.
So he didn't have the ace of hearts.
Didn't have the ace of hearts, no.
Right, I don't get that either. Like bluffing that spot without a heart seems fucking bonkers. I don't like it. I mean, this could be in Solverland. This could be a thing, and I might be talking right out of my ring piece. But that seems really fucking bad to me for what he's just done there. Like shoving that river without the ace of hearts seems really bad.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't have expected to see this hand. I mean, obviously pre-flop fine, flop he's fine, turn he's fine. River, I think. I don't know. What should he be doing on the river with this hand? Just check folding, or just? I mean, I if he does check to me, I check back anyway with this particular hand, so he loses.
I think in his shoes, I think I probably would have barreled the turn because you don't have many suited hands in your like 3-bet calling range, cut off versus middle position. He does pick up some equity with the gut shot. His turn barrel because like on the flop he's bet quarter pot, so we get to the turn still with a lot of stuff like this that's just going to fall to a second barrel. I think in his shoes, if I wanted to continue bluffing, I would just have barreled it. I'd be like, right, okay, now I've got a wheel draw at least. If I bet this turn and get called and I hit an ace on the river, it's probably going to be good because a lot of ace X is just going to be filtered out by the flop seam and the turn barrel. The only ace X you're really going to get to the river with is like ace X suited in hearts. Ace X offsuit that's got a heart in it. And like any two pairs that makes on the river, like ace 4 suited, ace 10, etc., that's already got a pair, then makes two pair with the ace. I think in his shoes, I'd rather just bet the turn. If I'm going to like bluff again in this hand, I'd rather bluff the turn, where people are going to have hands like this, pocket 8s, pocket 9s, pocket 7s, etc., that never fold flop and overfold turn hugely. I don't like his line. I think his river shove is just the last act of a desperate man.
Yeah, I like that. Mostly agree. Yeah, nice one for us though. Again,
absolutely. Yeah, so, I think it's good to find the call because a lot of people just don't find the call there. But I think we have to. We got our analysis. Well, I got my analysis wrong because I was convinced he had the ace of hearts, and that was one of my biggest reasons for calling was I know one of his fucking cards, and he's got more offsuit ace X pre-flop than he's got suited ace X. So therefore, I know one of his cards. If he's doing this with the ace of hearts like all the time, then I'm just going to win way high enough frequency. I didn't factor the ace 5 of clubs into my calculations very much. But I guess if he's also capable of doing this, then 8 is just an absolute slam dunk of a call, isn't it?
Yeah, seems that way. Cool. All right, let's see what the next one brings us. Okay. Queen 8 of hearts in the small blind. A little bit surprised to see this in here, but let's see how it goes. So, okay, it folds to us in the small blind. We go ahead and open, and the big blind, who again looks like a reg, goes for the call. One thing I will note here, relatively small sample, but we have the guy 3-betting at 9% overall, but 3-betting versus steals at 22%, only 9 instances of that happening. But yeah, maybe we would expect to see him 3-bet a reasonable frequency versus a small blind open, given these numbers here. So yeah, maybe that's something we factor into the hand when we see the board texture. But as played, he does just go for the call. So we see a flop of Jack, Deuce, 9 rainbow. I think both options are fine here. I think we can check, and I think we can bet. I think when we bet on this board, I think my kind of default sizing was probably around half pot here.
I think for me, this would be a mandatory c-bet. It's a relatively dry board. I'm going to c-bet most of my range here, I think. We're going to have so much suited stuff that's just going to have like a backdoor flush draw. But we're going to have that. Yeah, I just think it's a mandatory c-bet. I think like people...
Yeah, when I said that...
Under defend, even versus 1/3 here, I think population's going to struggle to defend appropriately on like a Jack 9 Deuce rainbow. Yeah, I just range bet 1/3 here.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and I think that's a pretty good simplification. I think probably where I come from, when I said that we can check back here, is that I do on the rainbow boards with my suited combos, I do tend to favour the ones that do have the backdoor flush draw, and obviously we don't have that here. But yeah, I think that's probably
we have a gut shot, though, don't we? We're a gut shot. We have one.
Yeah, we have a gut shot. Yeah,
there's going to be plenty of turn cards we can barrel still, even though we don't have them. I prefer to have the backdoor flush draw. There's going to be a decent match, and we're just going to get enough faults as well. I think on a 1/3 bet.
Yeah, which we pretty much go for. What's this? This is 40% ish, I guess. Okay, we see a small raise. Yeah, I mean, versus this size with the gut shot, I think we're probably not folding here. Don't think there's, well, I don't know. Is there any merit to? I'm getting some recollections of this hand. I think it might be a bit of a weird one. Anyway, yeah, I think my default here would just be to call and play turns of it. As I'm talking about it now, I think maybe there is some merit to going ahead and 3-betting here. There obviously aren't that many turns that are like really good for us, apart from a 10. A queen, given this top pair, isn't that good because he can be 3, but he could be he could be raising us here with a hand like Jack Queen or a hand like Queen 10. So yeah, I guess there aren't that many really good turns apart from the 10. So which maybe makes call not quite as good here. Still, I don't think I'm ever folding here.
No, I don't like call. I don't think. But already deviating from my knowledge of theory here, because I have no idea what theory would do here. I haven't got the first idea what theory would do. But I think I would either raise or fold here, depending on what I thought I knew about Villain. Like, I mean, we haven't got enough samples, so I'm not going to ask you to look. But like, how often is he like folding versus 3 c-bets? How often is he raising versus c-bets? I'd be looking into that. But against an unknown, I mean, he shouldn't have many raises on this flop. I get winning position versus ones and then we're supposed to find like more raises versus small bets. But it's just such a dry board.
Yeah. The reason I well, I'm guessing we don't fold here, given this hand's in here, and I'm also, well, I was saying there that there aren't that many good turn cards when we just call. I'm guessing I do go for the raise here, which is why it's in. But yeah, I do.
Yeah, I would have gone a little bit smaller. I don't think we need to go that big. I think 15. I'd just go like 2.5x. But yeah, I like it. I like the fact you've gone for the raise. I mean, yeah, when he calls, we're in big trouble when he calls. It's get there time, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like get there or shut down. But I think I like this play. It's hard to explain why, because I'm not well versed enough in theory, but in practice versus the 25 and up population, I think like there's going to be some regs who are just like, right, I'm just going to attack this raising position with hands they shouldn't be raising with, and then they just enormously overfold versus this 3-bet, enormously overfold, because they'll be raising hands that they shouldn't be raising, and then just get completely flummoxed when they get 3-bet, and they'll just default to, this is never a bluff in these games, so I'm just going to fold everything just about. That's what their mindset will default to. They'll just they won't see this line as a bluff at a very high frequency whatsoever. So I think we get absolutely loads of folds here. I mean, there's worlds where I think Jack X raise folds here in a lot of like bog standard 25 and no reg theory. They'll be like, oh, well, I need to raise some of my top pairs here versus range. So he might raise fold Jack 10, for example. He might be that type of player where he thinks he needs to raise like a lot of his range versus 1/3. So he'll just start raising hands like Jack 10 where he probably shouldn't. He should probably like just call Jack 10, and he should probably be building some of his raises around backdoor flush draws, around some like straight draws. Maybe if he's got a deuce in his hand, maybe using that to like raise with knowing if he gets called, he's got some 2-pair outs, strip outs, etc. But I can see a world where Jack 10 just like raise folds here. And that's obviously a massive win for us. I think it's really hard for players to continue here versus 3-bet without like 2-pair plus or like pretty strong draws.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. My thought process in game probably didn't quite go that deep. I probably just thought, I don't really like call here, so I'm just going to raise. And obviously we do have a pretty good out in the 10. So
what would your value range look like for raising here?
Oh wow. My value range will be pocket nines, pocket deuces.
What about like if you had aces or kings?
If I got aces or kings, I think I'd probably default to I see bet and facing the raise, I'd probably just call. I probably don't do a great deal of 3-betting with aces and kings in this spot.
Is that because you think population are quite polar when they raise this flop?
Yeah, I think so, and also I'm not so reliant on specific turn cards coming out for me to continue on some turns. Obviously, there are some turn cards which things start to get a little bit dicey on, but there are a whole bunch of turn cards where we can just very comfortably continue, like check call. Whereas I think with a hand like this, there's just not many hands that we can check call turns on. No. So
the reason I asked, I just wanted to get your thoughts on if you thought like, because for example, if population's raising King Jack, Queen Jack, Jack 10, etc. here, then I personally think things like aces and kings become a 3-bet quite often. Because if we're playing against a population that's like not polar when they're raising versus small bets, and then they're going to have a hard time folding top pair, I think there's quite a lot of merit in just being like, right, well, I think population's more merged than polar in this spot, so therefore I'm just going to fucking fast play my over pairs. Whereas if you think the polar, then you don't want to, then you want to just call and let them do their thing. So I guess I was just wondering what your opinion on population was there. Because I think I would 3-bet my like aces, kings, etc. I think when we call, I think on turns, players slow down a lot and are really polar when they continue, and they have a hard time finding the bluffs on these boards.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, if they are that way and they do slow down a lot on turns, and they get to over realize with a bunch of hands by letting the turn go check and seeing a river.
Yeah.
That's a
And I
really
think
good point.
when we do just start calling down versus a raise flop bet turn shove river line, I think we just run into value too often, because I think population finds all the sets there, all the two pairs. But do they just barrel off with Queen 10? Do they barrel off with King Queen? Do they barrel off with like all the gut shots that are available to them and open enders? And I don't think they do. I think they always barrel off with top of range, and probably don't barrel off anywhere near highly frequently enough with their like flop bluffs. I think a lot of the time they'll raise flop and just give up a lot when they get called, which is why I prefer just saying fucking YOLO and like three bet in my over pairs, because I think that there's going to be a ton of like Jack 10, Jack Queen, Jack King, things like that in there. There's going to be enough of that in there that we can just stack off pre, rather than take the bet, call a raise, and then rely on population finding enough bluffs to make calling down okay. But now back to this spot. This is really fucking interesting, because this looks like either someone like just fucking absolutely megaphoning, look at me, mate, I've got deuces, or Jack 9.
Yeah.
Or it's someone who's just been like reacting to your 3-bet with like, because here's what might be happening here. You've thought bullshit and then 3-bet him. He's thought bullshit and now he's 4-betting you.
Yeah.
So either that's going on, in that case, fucking jam and let's all have a good fucking giggle, or we just have to fucking fold now, because we can't be. Even though we're getting like such an enticing price, I think call is pretty much out of the question here. But the nit spewing in me, and trust me, that guy is in there sometimes. The nit spewing in me really wants to fucking rip this. I think it's probably a horrible play versus population, but the nit spewing in me, I mean, it's a disaster here. He's doing this, and then just decides to fucking call it off with King Queen. It's a fucking absolute disaster. But I don't think he would do that.
Yeah.
I think fold.
No,
but
this is a weird.
If you
this
jam
is very
here,
weird.
I'd given you a virtual high five, because like I said, the nit spewed in me really wants to fucking rip this in his face, because this looks like basically deuces or Jack 9, and that's not. That's not a lot of hands.
That's not a lot of hands. Yeah, exactly. That is it, isn't it? Yeah, he never has jacks. He never has 9s. This is it's very strange. I mean, maybe like Queen 10 of clubs, Queen 10 of spades, maybe. But even then, like,
would they use the size?
He's at it a bit there. Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck it. The more I think about it, the more I just want to fucking rip it. Let him have deuces and fucking spike that 10. That's what.
Spike the 10. Yeah.
I think probably fold, because I don't think population find anywhere near. I think like the sensible play here is just fine. We made a move, hasn't worked. Fold. That's a sensible line. But fuck me, ripping to.
Yeah. I don't know what I do here. I looking at it now, I think just fold and move on.
Yeah.
Okay, I go for a call.
No, I really don't like that.
I don't like the call either. No, I don't like the call either. I mean, obviously, we're getting an insane price. There's 62 big blinds in the pot. We've got a call on the 16. We've got a gut shot to what should be the nuts in this line, but yeah, feels bad. Feels bad.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I'd be a fan if a 10 goes off on the turn, mind. I'd be a big fan of it then.
What, like that?
Fucking hell. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, it does. It does. We do get there. Okay. I mean, God knows what you're actually supposed to do here when the flop goes bet, raise. But
maybe just check.
Yeah, we do get there. Yeah, I think just check, and I mean he's just going to presumably just jam.
Yeah, imagine you go rifle it in at a pretty high frequency. You would imagine.
Yeah.
Oh no, not
Okay,
us.
no, we just go
No,
for it.
oh no, I don't.
Mm.
I don't know you very well, right? But you seem like a nice guy. What the fuck are you doing here? What's going on in this entire? This is
Yeah, I don't know.
Neither do I.
Yeah, I don't know.
Talk me through it. Talk me through
Okay,
it, because I don't. Because this is going to be the last hand. Because I've got to go out in about 10 minutes, so the most I've got left. But yeah, I mean, you seem.
Yeah.
We were talking a bit before the video. You seem like an eminently sensible gentleman. What the fuck's happened here?
What's happened here? Yeah, I don't know. I think I probably just got excited after calling the calling the 4-bet on the flop and then absolutely getting there and thinking, holy shit, right, okay, let's go. Because I guess when he 4-bets the flop, I just don't see him ever folding here. And I don't really see him ever having king queen when he takes that line. I mean, yeah, pretty devastated if he does turn up with that hand, but yeah, I just don't see him ever having it. Is he ever going to fold now with the range of hands that should have 4-betters on the flop? Deuces, nines, deuces, jack nine, maybe jack nine considers a fold now. But for what's left here, I guess my thought process is whatever he 4-betters with on the flop just never folds now. I guess what's the other thing that maybe I should consider here? If he was ever just randomly spewing on the flop, does he just punt the rest of it in after I call his 4-bet and this particular turn card rolls off, which I guess can hit a whole number of hands that we continue with? Probably not. I don't know. So yeah, I guess that was the thought process here. I just don't see him ever folding. We've just absolutely got there. Yeah.
No,
let's go.
I'm not into that. I'm not into it.
Yeah,
He's polarised as fuck on
I
the
don't
flop.
like any part of this hand.
He's massively polarised himself on the flop. I think he likely is going to continue with his bluffs on the turn at a non-zero percentage. He might just give up. If he's got a stupid hand like ace queen or something, he might just fucking give up on the turn or whatever nonsense hand he's been doing it with. But you have to give him a chance. As far as I'm concerned, we've got the nuts. You have to give him a chance to bluff again. And if he doesn't, we can just do this on the river. You have to give him a chance to just continue betting his value hands too. I mean, yeah, I agree. If he's got a set of deuces, he's not folding when we shove. But he's not checking when we bet. He's not checking when we check either. This is just I say I don't know you well enough. I feel bad saying it, but this is fucking nonsense. Just check everything.
Yeah, no, don't feel bad.
There's just no reason to do this.
This whole hand is nonsense.
There's absolutely no urgency whatsoever to do this. We're all in now, no matter what happens. You know, the money's going in. Just let him do something stupid now and again. This prevents him doing something stupid. Checking doesn't.
Yeah, I agree.
Checking lets him do something stupid 10, 15, 20% of the time, maybe. Betting here, this might prevent him checking back at that hand like fucking ace jack that's massively overplayed the flop, and now he gets to check back and maybe not go broke on certain run outs. But that's such a just fucking check.
Yes.
I mean, the man's 4-bet the flop.
I agree.
The man's 4-bet the flop. You have to imagine there's a very, very good chance he's going to bet the turn.
Yeah, completely agree. Don't like the jam. I think, as you say, we've got plenty of room to still get the rest of it in, and he's going to do it at a reasonable enough frequency on the turn himself. So, yeah, this just allows him to get away if he was doing something stupid with something that he shouldn't have been doing it with.
This is like really horrible.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, and he does fold as well. Oh, that's horrible.
Curses.
Yeah.
Curses.
Yeah. Given he folds here, it's so bad. Because whether he would have continued on the turn or not, we really never give him the chance to do it.
No.
And
even if he's only continuing,
the hand, like you said, there's
like with bluffs a very small amount of the time. You still have to give him a chance to, because it's like the pot's so big, there's no urgency to keep building it.
Yeah, totally agree. I think maybe, and I can't remember this hand that well, but I think probably my thought process was he's got deuces here, and he's never going to fold.
Okay.
Does he put the rest of it in on this particular turn?
No, but he bets it, and then we raise and he calls it off anyway.
Yeah,
If your fear is
I agree.
checking back deuces on the turn here, then how do you ever cross the road? You know, how do you ever, do you take any risks in life? If your fear is he's going to pot control deuces, and so what if he does? We jam the river he calls anyway.
Yeah.
You know, exactly. If your fear is never be, in my opinion, never be scared of people folding. Don't worry. Don't let fear of them folding be a reason to not bet. To not play correctly. Sorry, Don't. No, I've got that wrong. I've got that completely wrong. I spoke like an idiot there. That's a good point. I know
what you're trying to say.
It's not relevant to this point. He's just gonna bet deuces nearly all the time, and when he doesn't, he's nearly always the only time he's gonna fold the river is if a 4-liner pops up.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just give him the rope. Give him the rope. Let him do his thing.
Give him the rope. Yeah. Totally agree. Yeah, totally agree. Weird hand, but
right. So
is this the last one?
Yeah, we're going to end the video now. Don't hang up though. I'm gonna pause the video so I can say bye to people at the end. But yeah, this is going to be the end of the video. So I'm going to pause now. So there we go. That's the end of the video with Lee. Really grateful for him for doing that. I hope you guys enjoyed it. There weren't many hands, but there was lots of good discussion. And I had a little chat with Lee after the video. And he is definitely up for doing this again. I'm going to let him drive the frequency at how often we do it, but I really hope he does it again soon because that was a lot of fun. I'm going to be off now because I'm going to be dreadfully late otherwise from picking my mate Quinn up and spending some time with him. So we'll see you on the next video. As always, fuck the Tories, and bye-bye for now.